What you doing?
Oh, I'm just meditating, trying to calm my winter bee anxieties.
What is bee anxiety?
Well, right about this time of year, every year I start to get a little anxious about how the hives are going to do this year because I feel like we did everything right, but that doesn't always guarantee they'll make it.
Well, how would somebody calm that?
Well, honestly, meditating. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't really know if there is anything to calm it other than to just trust that everything will work out how it's supposed to.
Do you remember the first time you felt it?
Yes. When I first started beekeeping, I used to every single week, not every week actually, it was like every other week, I used to go out and I would knock on my hive. I actually have a couple of videos of me doing that just to see if they'd come out and see if they were still alive. But I will say, don't do that. It's not necessarily something you should do. I was probably causing more harm than good just because it was like waking them back up again and they started devouring all their stores, but that's what I did.
So you said you were going to get a heat sensor?
Oh yeah, heat gun. Yeah, I'm looking into getting a heat gun, and you said there is one that can connect to your phone.
Yes, I do believe there is a style that connects right to your port on your phone. I don't know if it'll be better than, I think they're called the Flare.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into that. But yeah, so this year, instead of going around and knocking on the side of the hive, we're going to use a heat gun to see where in the hive they actually are, because they'll generate heat, and they'll also tell us if they're blowing through all their stores. If they start moving up to the top of their hive, then we know, okay, we probably have to crack them to put some food on them, but otherwise you don't necessarily want to crack them, so that is pretty much why we're going to try doing it that way instead of always cracking them every month just to see if they need stores, see where they're at in the hive. That's also what we've done in the past. But then we had water seep in through the cracks because they can't repropelize this lid once winter hits and it starts getting cold. So we're going to try the heat gun.
So tell us about some of the different methods you've used. Winter camp, foam boards.
Well, you're going to have to tell us about the mountain camp method because that's your favorite. But what I've always done is we use these foam boards and we put them underneath the lids like you see normally. But this year we're trying it two different ways because of your guys' suggestions.
That's comment sections in the world.
Yes. We're going to try with these ones, as you see, with the foam board on top. And the whole purpose of this is so that it keeps the cold on the outside from clashing from the heat on the inside that the bees are generating. And that'll usually create condensation under lid that will drip on all of the cluster and it can kill some of the bees. So this is supposed to keep that from happening. So this is what I usually go with for helping with moisture. Some people do quilt boxes. I've never really been a fan of that. And plus there's a lot of equipment that's needed with quilt boxes. These are cheap and easy. So that's mostly why I go with them. But then you do mountain camp. Did you want to explain that?
Yes, with mountain camp, where the foam would be at, we replace that with a shim and then some newspaper down and a whole bunch of regular granulated sugar from like Walmart. We just throw that right there on top, and then when they go through their stores, they'll move up and into the sugar, and it'll work as like a last ditch thing, and you can kind of keep adding sugar to it. We tried sugar bricks last year, but I'm not a fan because I feel like they had some moisture still left.
Alright, so I'm going to try to save you guys from how bad the wind got really here. I really need to find something to cover my mics to keep that wind from destroying the audio. But what I was saying here was that the mountain camp method kind of kills two birds with one stone, because not only does it provide sugar for the bees, but it also is able to suck up any excess moisture that is created underneath the lid so that the bees can use the sugar better, and also so that the moisture doesn't get on the bees. This is why Casey likes mountain camp method way more than using sugar bricks, because when I used the sugar bricks, it was like you're putting this small square in the middle of your hive, but then the rest of the top of your hive is all exposed. So it didn't really do what we were hoping it would do like mountain camp method does. And I also noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of moisture left, or moisture sucking capabilities is what I was laughing about here, in the sugar brick, because we cooked it out in the oven. So I don't know, we're probably going to start going with mountain camp method from here on out.
Let's take a look. What's today's date?
29th of October.
All right, so it's the 29th of October. Let's do some
Yep.
activity. We got some activity coming from this hive.
You know, I'm actually surprised that they're out and about today, because for the last couple weeks, even on like nicer days, this is a really warm, humid day though, I should say that, and the sun is shining too. Like, I'm not even cold out here in a t-shirt, but they haven't been flying as much, and I was kind of wondering if that's just them trying to conserve energy, at least for the ones that are well fed, which should be all of ours this year. We did really good on feeding them.
So these guys saw only 2 hives. It would have been this hive right here and this hive over here. They each got a gallon of feed just because they were a little off schedule. Because when we made the 2 frame splits, we kind of built them too.
Yeah.
But they're all doing
Oh yeah,
good.
these were the weaker ones, for sure.
No, this hive is sort of a bonehead. That's the bone on top of it. We are going to look into this hive because we had an issue with them deciding to just requeen. I don't know if they like their queen, what happened with their queen, but they requeened, but we also found a queen that looked like she might have still been in there. So we're going to check inside her because we need to know. I want to know. And if there's not a queen in there, they're already a loss.
Yeah.
And if I need to, I can do something with them. But
I mean, it's already getting kind of late though to do much with them, but at least this time of year, I'm doing things a little different this year to see what happens. But in the years past, I mean, it's as we keep growing and learning too. This was only our 5th year of beekeeping, so like over the years, I've always, up until it became 50 degrees consistently, I was in the hives, always doing stuff, maybe combining even this time of year. But now I'm trying to adapt more of, in August, we treat for mites. In September, we feed. And then after that, if we have to combine them real fast, but after that, not really doing anything else except for adding on these foam boards and those mouse guards. Just because, I mean, they're planning. They're planning for the whole winter too. And they're trying to time everything based off of that. So every time you go into the hive, you're disrupting their plans. You're causing some damage. You're changing things. So it's hard for them to keep on that path. You keep changing it for them, if that makes any sense.
yeah, otherwise they get their own anxiety and they're in there meditating. Is somebody going to break into us again?
Yeah, and ruin our plans.
We are going to look inside this one. So if you give us a couple seconds, we will be right back.
So this next hive, to better explain what was going on with it, when we checked this hive around a month ago when we were putting all these foam boards on, Casey had said this hive had been a little behind, so we wanted to take a peek at it before we left. And when we went into it, he found a queen, but she was very fuzzy. You know how like new queens look when they're kind of like a light color and they have longer hairs on it that you can see? That's what she looked like, but he was also seeing eggs. When I saw this, I was like, she really looks like a virgin just because of those hairs, unless she's malnourished. But we ended up just closing up the hive, and right before we left, he insisted that he checked on it one more time, and thank goodness that he did, because when he looked into it one more time, he saw that there was actually another queen in there, one that actually looked mated, and the one that we're looking for in here. So we ended up pulling out the one that looked like a virgin and left the one that you're about to see in a second. It's just so weird that there was 2 queens in this hive in October. It makes me really wonder, why did they have a second queen? Were they trying to kill their main queen? Is she not adequate? I mean, I guess time is the only thing that's really going to tell, and to see how they're looking today.
Yeah, so speaking of timing too, since we were talking about that earlier, I am noticing in most of our hives that they're already cutting down their queen. She's only laying maybe a frame or 2, if at all. Some of the hives aren't even having her lay, which is fine, because if you think about it, they have been making winter bees since August, so that's what, like 4 brood cycles?
I think so.
So as long as you have a decent amount of bees in there, and winter bees can survive for up to 6 months, so I wouldn't get too worried. I used to get worried in years past, but nope, that's just a sign of them getting ready for what's coming. And plus, then they won't be blowing through as many stores since they don't have brood to feed. But yeah, so back to timing. Some of the hives, though, you'll see that they have a good amount of brood in them. And in the past, I always thought that was a good thing, that this time of year to have wall-to-wall brood, but actually I don't think that's necessarily what you're looking for anymore. You do?
Right there.
Oh, yep. She looks tiny though. I don't even know if you can see her on the camera. Yep, there we go. Look how tiny she looks. See, okay, they're starving the queens, which they'll do that. They'll lose a little bit of weight for the winter. They'll stop laying. She kind of looks like a worker bee queen, though. Like, she wasn't fully developed. I don't know. Or is that just... She just looks a little bit too small, you know? She's over here. Oh, okay.
See if there's
Any eggs?
This is such a hard time in the year to be looking for eggs because, like I mentioned, a lot of these queens are starting to shut down and they're not really laying anything anymore, which is a good thing. So even if we don't find any eggs, there's not really a whole lot we could do because this could just be a part of their planning and timing. And now you see why bee anxiety is actually a thing during the winter time.
No. I mean, she looks too small to be laying, though. Her butt's not fat enough.
Yeah, but if she's in here, even if she just makes it through the winter...
But yeah, so the hives that would have wall-to-wall brood, some of the hives that requeened in August or September, because we did have a couple hives do that, those are the ones that have that wall-to-wall brood because they got set behind in making all of their winter bees. So now I understand why making late splits is never a good idea. Uh-oh, this bee's getting aggravated. How heavy was their top box?
It's pretty heavy.
Okay, and it's like those frames are looking kind of eek.
They have all the resources above them.
I say just let them do their thing.
Yep. There's a queen in there, so they'll cluster around her. And then if they make it to spring and she's not laying, I'll just drop a frame of laid eggs in there and they will go on about their day.
Yep. Well, if they even make it that far, because usually they start laying again. Oh, I'd say late January, mid-January, just depends. The bees know what's coming before we know what's coming. Also, we saw some dandelions in full bloom the other day. Anybody know what would be causing that? There was also a lilac tree that was blooming, and I found an apple tree on one of my morning runs that also had buds on it. Or not buds, had flowers on it. I don't know, kind of weird.
Oh, we have eggs.
Okay.
Yep, there's eggs right here.
Okay.
Yep, right there. There's eggs. There's eggs.
They shouldn't be laying too much. They have a decent amount of bees in there.
This is, yep. So
Okay.
she's laying. This is the frame she was
Probably
on.
the last bits of what she's going to be laying.
They're. So she'll go ham in the spring.
Because, yeah, she's skinny now, so they'll
All right,
fatten her
so
back
she
up.
is laying. There's eggs. But to be fair, she is about the size of a couple of the other ones that they've cut down when we were looking through the nukes.
So yeah, to the new beekeepers out there that are seeing the same thing happening in terms of like only a frame of eggs, don't get worried. I think this actually is beneficial to your colony.
Sorry guys about the hoof, but
It's heavy, I know.
it's not like...
That's how all of these are. And we're not cracking any of the lids.
No
That's
lid
for a
cracking.
reason. We don't want to break that propolis seal. If you have a telescoping cover, it really doesn't matter, but if you have migratory lids like we do, we've learned it matters. It really matters.
It does.
All right. Well, anything else?
camera in there.
Oh yeah.
They're looking good?
Yeah, they do.
All right.
They're doing their thing.
All right, that box is too heavy for me to even want to lift.
So yeah, I hope this ends up working out the way we did these, the styrofoam.
So we did kind of what you guys were thinking.
Yeah.
These ones had the massive amount of honey, so we put these on top. These guys didn't really have the honey. They have the comb, but they don't really have the honey. So we put the lids underneath.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put up a video of why we did this, what the dilemma was.
Oh, that's so heavy.
Ah. Oh yeah, looking good.
Oh, I think I hurt my shoulder.
And last time we checked the mite levels, what was it, early September, I think? Everything was, I think it was like 2 to 4 mites in a wash. Something like that. So around 1%.
Right,
Which that's perfect.
One last one. Tell me what you guys see.
Oh, they're already clustering. These back ones, though, I'm noticing aren't as active.
They don't get the sun. They don't get the sun.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting the warm breeze that you feel on that side.
All right.
Which that's okay.
All right, no more splitting.
Nope.
Thank you guys for coming along, and thank you for the ideas. We didn't end up using any shims because we didn't really need to.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been beneficial to put them on. These ones won't need to be fed, though, so we don't have to put them on.
Yeah.
These ones are packed.
Yeah, these got 10 frames. 10 frames. Okay, these was one of the ones I fed, though. So I am going to look into this. I'm not going to dig into it, but you can stick your camera down here. Because we fed these guys.
Oh, it looks like they did a good job. Yeah, they're looking good.
Right.
Yeah. I think we did good this year, but only time will tell.
Alright, what do these guys look like?
I think someone else has winter bee anxiety.
I do, I can't stop.
See, that's the thing. I miss having my head in the hive. So winter bee anxiety isn't only if the hives are going to make it through, but once you become in love with the bees, it's hard to just stop for, what is that, like 4 or 5 months?
Hold on, I gotta get this one on there straight.
That's fine.
Yep. Yeah, no.
And usually this time of year I'm burnt out, but that's because we're usually always doing stuff all the way up until November. But this year, I'm already ready for spring.
Next year I am only focusing on queens. That's my only goal.
Yeah, I guess I should throw that in there too real fast. So we've decided going forward to split tasks a little better, because one of the things I found this year is that it's hard to take care of hives when you both have different ways of beekeeping. And when one person goes in and does one thing, and then you go in and do another thing, it's hard to kind of keep track of like what's going on unless you guys are on the exact same page. So in the starting next year, the plan is Casey's gonna go back to queen breeding because that's what he's good at. It's what he.
But like.
Well, yeah, you are, but that's also what you love too. You've been missing it. You've been complaining about it for a while.
Yeah,
that you want to go back to it.
We got on her expansion.
Yeah.
Concept.
Well, it worked.
It did, but now my goal is to just pump out hundreds and hundreds of queens next year.
Yep. So you're gonna go back to. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, you're good, look. So my goal is to get their boxes. So we're gonna take those blue boxes. There's blue boxes. We're gonna throw them on top of each one of these. We're gonna let them build up into them next year. Because last year the way we did it didn't really work out the best. Because I'm used to smaller little 3-frame mini mating nukes, like mini minis.
Yeah.
And you can just drop a queen cell in them, put them in your house, wait 3 days. Doesn't really work that way with those ones.
No.
But we have the boxes we're gonna throw on top of all these hives. We're gonna let them build up into them in the spring. We're gonna we're gonna take out the frames, fill them into these, and then another set we have, and we're gonna get them pumping out queens. We're gonna do a massive amount of Viplidu, and
yes.
I'm going to bring in what do we want to name her?
Oh, from the one on our
porch. She did so well. She is definitely going to start, and I'm going to start interacting with her in the breeding program a little bit that we're building.
She's nice. She produced a lot of honey this year. We got 2 supers off her, and she was just a random swarm that moved in and built up her entire hive.
She got 2 supers and a deep. She has a super on her now. I took a deep off her and a super off her, and she already put all the honey back into the all the honey back into the deep, and then she filled her super again.
Yeah.
So she's going to go into the breeding program, and we're going to see what happens.
Yep.
Because she's a very hardy bee, and
well, this winter will show.
Yeah,
we'll see
if
how
she
it
survives,
goes.
because I've never wintered her before, so she could collapse. It could happen. She has very little mites.
Yeah.
She's been given all you could do. I don't know anything about her treatment, or I can't say that she's treatment free, so we did treat her this year.
Yeah, we did put formic pads on her because we don't know her history.
Yeah.
So, and did we do a mite count on her? I thought we did, or did we just not and just threw them on?
I think we just threw them on. No, I thought you did a mite count.
I thought I did too.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of high. I think it was like
I think you might have
9
a
mites
somewhere.
in a wash. I'll have to look back through the B-roll and stuff, but.
Yeah, but without knowing her history, so the first year we're just going to treat to make sure she didn't come as a swarm with a ton of mites.
Yeah.
So we get her mite levels in check, and then from there I will make some daughters of her, and I'll put them through what I like to call,
You've been calling them your stress tests.
Yeah, it's my stress test. Sorry, it's been a day. So I'm going to put them through some stress tests, and in a couple years, seeing how our daughters do. The first stress test will be this year.
Yeah.
We'll see how she does, which will be a very low stress year. And then the year after that, we will do... What I'll end up doing is I'll breed like 5 or 6 of her daughters. I'll give them full hives. I'll rip out all of their... At this time of year, I'll rip them out, put them in a 5-frame nuke with nothing but 5 frames of honey. And then I'll see if they can survive on that. Mm-hmm. And if they do, whatever one survive, we'll then go into the next year's stress test. Because breeding and playing with queens is my passion. Like, I could have 1,000 hives, but that's not what I really care about.
And that's exactly why. That's what you're going to focus on, is making queens. And then I'm going to do the honey and everything else and the expanding.
I like to see if my queens can survive me.
I know. He is a high management type of beekeeper, I will say. I'm okay, we don't have to check them for a month. Like, I know they're good. I know there's not any substantial flows right now. Like, why are we digging into these? It's pointless. And you're like, well, I just have to see. I have to know.
I do like to know every, so my first couple of years, I built hives that I could just go into every day, literally every day. I went into them every day because I just didn't know anything about beekeeping, and I feel like it could take 10 years to learn. If you go in them once a month, it could take 10 years to learn anything about what's happening inside the hive.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I recommend that for new beekeepers, to go into them, even though it's a little bit more stressful on the bees, but to go into them as much as possible, just because that's how you're going to learn. You learn from experience.
Well, I did it in a cycle. Let me explain. So I had 10 hives. I had 10 5-frame nukes. Well, about 10 5-frame nukes. And then on a Monday, I would go through this one. And on a Tuesday, I'd go through this one. On a Wednesday, I'd go through this one. On a Thursday, I'd go through this one.
Yeah.
And then on the next Monday, I'd go back into the one I went through. Every Monday, I went through the same one.
Yeah.
But I never went through a Tuesday one on a Monday. And I never went through a Wednesday one on a Tuesday. So I was able to basically be beekeeping every day of the week.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't have anything else to do, so I was really just like, let's see what's happening. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. And I learned a lot. And then I learned that I like to, press on my queens, starting to see people are saying more and more stress queens that are
stress tested,
and I don't want to say that I never saw that before, but I think that I've never saw that before I said it. But my queens are definitely stress tested.
But, oh gosh. But anyways, okay, before we start rambling on for hours and hours.
That's what we do.
Yep, it is what we do. We love bees. But all right, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, or if you have winter bee anxiety, let's talk about it in the comments. Casey's always popping in the comments now. So with that, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. And why are you walking like that? Like, what are you are you trying to look at my butt?
I'm sorry, guys. I got confused on what we were doing here.
All right. Don't quit and be fit.